Hey there YouTube. Today we are going to be going over the World of Warcraft Dragonflight Season 1 tier sets for all three Paladin specs, Holy, Protection, and Retribution. Now my first overall feeling on the tier sets is that they're all very basic and they're all pretty meh. They all buff one part of our class, and that one part for every single spec is it buffs our builders. So Blizzard already confirmed a little bit ago that these are meant to be basic because they don't want to clash too much with the new talent tree, while they also want to keep providing tier sets for the first tier. So we're just going to go straight into it. Holy. So the two-set bonus is Holy Shock increases the critical hit chance of your next heal within 10 seconds by 10%. So this tier set already is going to make Holy Paladins take crit, which is something they're already taking, so it kind of plays off of one of their strongest secondaries and makes it even stronger. When your direct healing spells critically strike, your next Holy Shock deals 30% increased damage or healing. So pretty much you have a 10% chance to make a Holy Shock deal 30% more damage if you use Holy Shock for the crit. Now again, Holy Paladin's critical strike is very important to their toolkit. It's a very good stat for them, so being able to have a tier set that plays around a really good stat for them is really good. And I know a lot of Paladins on the beta right now are talking about how Holy Shock just doesn't do a lot of healing right now, or a lot of damage. So having a tier set that directly increases the damage of our Holy Shock does is really good. Next, we're going to go to Protection 2 set. Avenger's Shield grants you versatility of light, increasing the versatility of you and your closest ally by 4% for 4 seconds. So this is something that Blizzard's really playing into in Dragonflight, is Avengers Shield usage in Dragonflight. So in Shadowlands, a lot of our mitigation comes from just Word of Glorying damage off, because Word of Glory is so strong and keeping Shield or Righteousness up. However, in Dragonflight, Blizzard is really wanting to really want Paladins to play around using Avengers Shield and then reaping the benefits from Avengers Shield. So there's a lot of talents that play with buffing Avengers Shield and buffing its damage and buffing its defenses. So it would make total sense for Blizzard to sit down and say, alright, we'll make Avengers Shield even stronger. And here is 4 set. Casting Hammer Regis / Blessed Hammers increases your parry by X% for Y seconds and extends the duration of versatility of light by 1 second. So just like Holy Shock, which is a Holy Paladin builder, Hammer of Righteous and Blessed Hammers is also a Protection Paladin builder. So being able to use our builders and our builders benefiting us, and if for the Protection case, being able to benefit other parties is really good. And I think I'm a fan of our builders feeling a little more impactful, especially here in the Retribution that we're going to next. 2 set bonus. Blade of Justice and Judgment grants Crusader Strike, increasing the damage of your next Crusader Strike or Consecrate by 100%, stacking up to 2 times. So using Judgment, Blade of Justice, 200% damage on Crusader Strike. Now this is kind of a hit and miss for a lot of Retribution Paladins, I feel like, but I kind of like this. So for AoE for Paladin right now, Consecration is a very important builder, and not because Consecration does a lot of damage. Consecration benefits our Spinning Hammers or Divine Storm. So we put down Consecration to have strong Divine Storm procs. However, Consecrate on its own doesn't do much damage. It just sort of exists so we can buff our Divine Storm. So being able to have a builder like Crusader Strike, I actually have some logs pulled up here. I believe this is for Side and Athos, a heroic kill we did a couple weeks ago. This is one of my best parses. Crusader Strike doesn't do any damage to begin with, so being able to have one of our builders just do a little bit more damage is really good, and it allows our toolkit to feel more impactful outside of the Final Verdict or Templar's Verdict and Divine Storm being our only like main source of damage. So it allows us to kind of be like, oh, instead of using Crusader Strike, I cast Crusader Strike 25 times and it did 1% of my damage, so that's good. 4 set. When you consume Crusader Strength, the damage of your next Blade of Justice increased by 50% for each stack of Crusader Strength consumed. I don't really like this one too much. So this kind of clashes with another talent build that I really like in Dragonflight, and it's out 4 sets for Shadowlands right now for Season 3 and 4, where instead of Blade of Justice being reset, Wake of Ashes reset. But with this 4-set, it pretty much makes it so we don't really want to be having Wake of Ashes reset. We want Blade of Justice to reset more often because our damage for Blade of Justice is increased by 50%. This again helps us with our single target. It allows an ability that I cast 29 times to do more than 2.58% of my damage. And again, it kind of clashes with another build within our talent tree. It kind of forces us to go down a certain path to get the most benefit from Blade of Justice casts. Again, this is our tier set right here. You see it's very strong for Side and Athletes here. But being able to have like double... I think honestly this should have two options. The damage every next Blade of Justice or Wake of Ashes increased by 50% for each stack of Crusader Strength Assumed, because it really does kind of make a build very niche now and not as viable as it could be by going down in the middle of the tree. Now you're going to play on the right side of the tree where a lot of our abilities buff our Blade of Justice. But that's probably the idea. Overall, I would say these are, for what Blizzard said, they're supposed to be basic. They're supposed to be, you know, they exist to increase our power within gear, and so we can have tier sets. I say the Holy One is pretty okay. Again, it buffs our builder. It makes a Holy Shock feels a bit more impactful, and it also plays in the Holy Paladin's, one of Holy Paladin's stats. The Protection one plays around Avenger Shield, which is what Blizzard really wants Paladins to be using and reap the benefits from Avenger Shield. It also grants a decent utility within dungeons and raid, being able to grant an ally versatility for 4 seconds. And like I said above, a Holy Shock, it also buffs our builders. Hammer of Righteous and Blessed Hammers, increasing our parry. And parry is a very good stat for Paladins, so that's good too. Retribution, I see the 2 sets really good because again I think having Crusader Strike and Consecration do more damage when there's such basic buttons. Just to again, we use these buttons to use bigger buttons, so being able to have our builders just do a little bit more damage and have more variety within our DPS spec is good. And I say the 4 set kind of plays against a certain build in Dragonflight that I think is going to be really good for single target and AoE, but we'll see how that plays. I'm still kind of under the suggestion that Blade of Justice, it should be Blade of Justice and Wake of Ashes, but we'll see how that works. Wake of Ashes on its own, I feel like even for the 4 set, did a lot of damage, but I think I would like to see that if we're able to get the choice to pick between both. And I know all tier sets and the talent has a chance to reset both Wake of Ashes or Blade of Justice, but from my experience, it has reset Wake of Ashes more than it's reset Blade of Justice. As you can tell, it did 13.32% of my damage, 757k damage, and I consider Wake of Ashes to be a builder. Anyway, they're pretty good. Do I see any alliteration happening on them? No, they'll probably stay the way they are. They're decent. They play into what Paladin uses, and it plays into our build-to-spender class very well. And I hope you guys found this video to be helpful, useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.